When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. You should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. If you need inspiration, don't do it. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then probability will occur. One of the really tough things is figuring out what questions to ask. Once you figure out the question, then the answer is relatively easy. I take the position that I'm always to some degree wrong, and the aspiration is to be less wrong. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better. One of the biggest mistakes we made was trying to automate things that are super easy for a person to do, but super hard for a robot to do. Every person in your company is a vector. Your progress is determined by the sum of all vectors. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. If something's important enough, you should try. Even if the probable outcome is failure. People should pursue what they're passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything else. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. I always invest my own money in the companies that I create. I don't believe in the whole thing of just using other people's money. I don't think that's right. I'm not going to ask other people to invest in something if I'm not prepared to do so myself. Starting a business is not for everyone. Starting a business, I'd say, number one is have a high pain threshold. If you go back a few hundred years, what we take for granted today would seem like magic, being able to talk to people over long distances, to transmit images, flying, accessing vast amounts of data like an oracle. These are all things that would have been considered magic a few hundred years ago. If humanity doesn't land on Mars in my lifetime, I would be very disappointed. There's a silly notion that failure's not an option at NASA. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. I don't spend my time pontificating about high-concept things, I spend my time solving engineering and manufacturing problems. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. I think you should always bear in mind that entropy is not on your side. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not.